Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Doug Martin is at it again, doubling down on this Nadia situation, saying he's got a message for her coming very soon indeed, but also an update for you guys on the Gunner situation, with it looking less and less likely he's going to get a sub spot for next season. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Let's dive straight into things here then. Hit from attach. My goal is to be carried this whole season. I'm sure every pro player would love that. Now this, speaking of the Minnesota Rokkr, we heard this a while ago now, I believe, when Rokkr did some sort of press conference, that they are planning to do match events live. So we of course know how the season is going to be structured, regular online league matches up until the majors, as it's been the last couple of seasons now, at least since Cold War, when everything finally went back to actually having some LAN action. But even now, it's still going to be online matches for the qualification games, and then the majors are going to be on LAN. Now Rokkr are one of the teams leading the charge to potentially do these online matches on LAN anyway, kind of hosted by the teams. The CDL isn't going to do it. They're going to say, look, we're going to maybe do the champs, like we're going to do that. We'll do Major 1 in Raleigh, and the other ones are of course the responsibility of the respective teams to organize and put on those majors, and they'll organize the referees and the broadcasting or whatever for the online matches. But if the teams want to go out of their way to play those online matches in person, they probably can do that. Now Rokkr are planning to do that, and even as Brett Diamond here from the Minnesota Rokkr and version 1 says, the team's hard at work planning these live match events for next season. So of course the question is how many other teams will be on board flying out to Minnesota, let's say, to their kind of setup, whatever they have, to play these online games effectively on LAN in person. I guess that remains to be seen, but it's a really cool idea on paper, right? Because all the pros complain about the fact that these matches are online, and then Rokkr might say, well look, for our matches, at least for some of them, we're going to give the opportunity for these teams to fly out and play us like in a fair ping environment right here. And then if the teams disagree and don't want to do it, then it's like, well look, it's your fault for not taking that opportunity. If you then lose and then complain about ping or something, you don't really have any validity to do that. So really cool stuff from Minnesota. I'll stay tuned for sure on how that one develops. Now let's talk about the coaching stuff, because JP Krez here, he's done some more videos on some of the analyst work he did back in Vanguard, and Sender actually replied, keep up the videos brother, you're killing it. So kind of interesting, just because JP formerly of course of New York Subliners, where Sender was going to be going, and then JP was maybe going to be going to OpTic. Now that's no longer the case, and Sender's going to stay. Strange situation, but it's something we do now know officially, is that Revan is going to be the general manager for the Seattle Surge. Revan, of course, alongside JP and Daryl, was part of the coaching team for the New York Subliners last season. Daryl kind of came in, it became the head coach early on in the season. Revan, I know there was drama there behind the scenes, there was all sorts of drama going on, but Revan was kind of like ousted in a sense. I don't really know how much involvement he really had with that team for the rest of the season, and he of course was out of that lineup and was looking for some other opportunity. He's actually going to become the GM of the Seattle Surge. We know that Novus, the former GM of the Seattle Surge, we expect to join Los Angeles Thieves. Not sure why it hasn't been announced yet, but maybe in due course it will indeed be. So Revan kind of moving on from a coaching role into a more general management position, which is pretty interesting, because Seattle, of course, when Novus was there, did a pretty good job in picking up players like Pred and Sib, of course, that have had great success with their organization last season. So you'd think that Revan's also got to be pretty hot in terms of who the hot prospects are upcoming, right? And some teams don't even really have a GM and try and wing it, or have their pro players give an idea of who their friends might be in challenges and see how that's going to work out and stuff like this. So cool stuff that Revan's going to get a spot here once again. As he says, feels good to be employed again, right? I'm sure last season on the New York Subliners was not exactly a good time, and even Crimsix actually admits that. He says right here, congrats my guy, I'm sorry still, actually says Crimsix, after all the drama of last season. So of course we don't really know fully what went down there behind the scenes, but as Bobel says, thank you Ian, it's all in the past now, we'll never forget all you taught us last year. So yes, obviously we'll never really know. We got some insight in the kind of behind the scenes videos that Subliners Camp did last season, but obviously it was an absolute mess going on there, and Crim even says he's sorry for whatever he was treating Revan like last year, because it wasn't pretty, and maybe one of the reasons why Crimsix's bridges seemed to be burnt to a point where of course he was forced to retire just a couple of weeks ago. Now let's talk about some early challenger teams going into Modern Warfare 2. Gunless does appear on one of these, so I'm guessing he's still going to be competing in challenges even if he doesn't get the visa, which we looked at last night. But Gunless, Pristini, Ghosty, Pentagram, that's a pretty nice team, especially for the challenger side. And the really cool thing is here really is that the first event is a prime event, right? If they turn up, or any of these teams turn up to the first event, dominate one of the group plays, beat a couple of pro teams in their group, or at least place relatively well, top 12 or something at the event out of all the teams that are there, then these players already put themselves on the market, right? Because look, this season is going to be, well, shifted much earlier now. Major 1 is in December. Major 2 is in probably like, well, early February or something, right? So you get to a point where the season is ticking over relatively quickly, and Major 3, which will be in March, is kind of already almost the halfway point of the season, right? So by then, like especially after Major 2, teams will have to be considering moves. And I wouldn't really be surprised if even after Major 1 going into January, some teams are considering changes, especially if there's some players like these that turn up to the Pro-Am in Major 1 in Raleigh, dominate it, really put on a clinic, and then teams that are struggling think, you know what, we might as well get that guy now before someone else signs him, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if there's many early moves happening, and hopefully kind of accelerated by the fact that the Pro-Am Classic event is very early this season at Major 1. So really exciting stuff. So these are the teams. Saints, Desi, Blaster, Mohawk, we knew about that one. Doug's team, of course, with Beans. We'll talk about Doug here in a second. A couple of other teams, 2Real's team as well. And then in the European side, Gizmo, Harry, Denza, Vortex, they're coming back. And the Spanish guys as well, kind of with their lineup they're running for this season, right? So a couple of notable teams here. Now, this just real quick from Bristini. Of course, he turned the stream on last night, and he effectively leaked this roster on stream because I thought it was kind of funny how Gunless comes back to Crone and says, hang on a second, respectfully, Crone, how do you know what I'm doing before I even know what I'm doing? And that Crone shares the clip of where Bristini effectively just said this on stream last night. So does this mean that Gunless is good to go now? Does it mean he's got a sub spot? No issues at all? Apparently not, because Gunless just tweeted this out this morning. Man, screw this. I'm going to a jewelry store tomorrow, dropping racks on an engagement ring and asking people to marry me. I can't breathe. I'm seething right now. So this is over the last 10 days since he did that tweet, and he was like, look, hey, I'm going to need a sub spot on one of these teams to keep my visa. And apparently that's not going to be the case. Now, of course, he still sounds like he's competing based on what we've seen in the challenger size, like maybe some of the other Canadian guys are, just without the visa, right? So it's going to be difficult for him to get to the US. I mean, look, it's still possible. That's a little bit further down the line, someone sides Gunless, because like how many teams are really locking in substitutes right now? Not really. That 10-day window was going to close relatively quickly, but basically what he's saying here is if he marries someone, then he can stay in the US, right? So like he's going all out to try and make it happen. So, you know, wishing the best, of course, for Gunless, but hopefully he can still compete in challenges for a little bit, earn a sub spot on the team, and or even a starting spot, who knows, and then like actually get, well, signed back into the league and get his visa and everything sorted. Would be a shame to lose him from the competitive circuit, no doubt. Let's dive in then to this Doug Center Martin stuff. So it keeps on going, baby. If you guys missed this the last couple of days, Doug's been going rogue. He's, came up with this, well, he didn't really come up with the software, but this guy called X and Doug came up with this software technique to go into some sort of loophole in the back end of a cheating website to discover whether players that have injected cheats onto the game actually have done so and what their Activision IDs are. So he was looking up and he caught a few people, right, who came positive on this list, and some of them were going rogue and saying they were going to sue him and all this type of stuff. And usually when that happens, I can be pretty confident indeed they were pretty dodgy. Now, generally he was kind of catching the guys at the top of the ranked play leaderboards and search and destroy kind of stars, I suppose, and stuff like this. But of course, Doug wanted it to take to the next level, right, to look into the Warzone players, but seemingly the loophole got broken down. And until the proof is given, and this is pretty solid proof if you are caught on this list that indeed you are cheating, but until the proof is there for certain players, you can't really say for sure. Now, of course, the whole Nadia thing kicked off yesterday. Well-known Warzone content creator, kind of controversial over the last couple of weeks or so, certainly on the TikTok side. And I mean, yeah, so Doug was basically saying to Nadia, look, she's pretty scared of me exposing her. That's why she's DMing me saying, look, I'm clean, all this type of stuff. And Doug has now followed up on this in incredibly entertaining fashion. This right here, Detective Doug has a message for Nadia tomorrow night, which of course is today. See you there. So here he is in the suit. I mean, this guy, honestly, man, just fantastic content. He's got the cigar. He's also got the wire taped to his chest here. This is a throwback, of course, too, if you guys don't know the wire story. I did mention it a few days ago from the World War II days, trying to catch certain players admitting that they were cheating with their kind of pro point matches and stuff. So Doug's got the wire on again. So here he goes. I mean, he's looking good. You can't lie. And even, well, I thought this is pretty funny in the replies, right? So King Richard comes back and says, why are you mentioning her impression farming? Her career is on the line and so is yours. Innocent until guilty matters in my book. You get a lot of hate, not sure why, but I can assure the hate you receive from being wrong will kill you, it says. And then Doug goes, cry me a river in the reply. So I thought this was pretty funny, to be honest. I mean, look, it's not like he's wrong necessarily. We do want to make sure that no false allegations are made, but look, Doug doesn't seem to care so much. He's doubling down on it. And also he gave some further thoughts I'll just share here on stream, where he said that, hey, look, Nadia knows what she's doing. She's using these opportunities for impressions to grow her own following and stuff like that. And it seems to be working pretty well.
Sharknado Oscar-winning actor, guys. I know acting, all right? I've done what Nadia's trying to do. When I watched her say, what's a dolphin dive? I was like, yeah, she's just trying to troll people. She knows what a dolphin dive is. She knows. So part of me is like, no, this girl is just feeding into it. She's feeding into it hard. She's just a giant troll that's feeding into it, and she's doing what she can to get her exposure. That's how I saw it. But hey, if I'm Nadia though, I'm bricks, man. This guy, Doug Censor Martin, this psychopath lunatic, Doug Censor Martin. I'm looking at this dude right here. Hey, man, I understand. If I'm Nadia, I understand. I'm looking at this handsome guy.
So I'm not sure Doug's actually going to be able to come out in this kind of message or whatever with any concrete proof or anything along these lines. My perspective is that both of these individuals, Doug and Nadia, have been very good over the last couple of weeks, and especially the last couple of days, in maximizing impressions of this type of stuff. Doug's always been a master of this over the last several years, and Nadia has also done an incredible job, as Doug seems to agree that, like, you know, by sending these DMs and doing the tweets and stuff like this, I mean, you always have to wonder how much do they really believe this stuff or how much is actually here just to, you know, stir up drama and impressions and discussion. So, you know, you gain a few followers, gain a few viewers, this type of stuff. So definitely intrigued to your thoughts on that one in the comment section. We're going to leave it there for now. Tomorrow we might have a further update, as I'm sure wouldn't be surprising, let's just say, the way the last few days have gone. A couple of things to close out the video. This firstly from Hitch, another team announcement. We saw Scump's team yesterday, Scump, Big T, Pristini and Arcitys. This is Team Karma. They, of course, the Black Ops 2 Invitational coming up next month. We've got Damon Karma Barlow, the Black Ops 2 World Champion, on that Free Impact team back in 2013, the inaugural World Championship, best player at that event, if it's ever going to play. Here we go. We've got Karma number 1. I think the other player on the team was, I guess we'll see who in a second. Rambo number 2, of course, the present OpTic coach, and then the last two guys on the team. Okay, Merck's joining in. Yeah, Merck and Tem is going to be the final two, so that's a great team already. There's some great, I mean, Merck, honestly, I think like he's an underrated player in his career, and Donny Tem, you can't go wrong with the entertainment value from him as well. We knew he was going to be going. Good to see he's playing on this lineup. So Karma, Rambo, Merck, and Temp, that is certainly a team to enjoy. I just wanted to mention this, that Trickster pointed out to me a couple of days ago, I thought was actually rather interesting, that this year when LA Thieves won champs, that was the first ring for every player on their team. Octane, Kenny, of course Envoy and Drazah, all their first rings this season. The last time that happened was back in 2015. It's actually very rare. There's only been 3 world championships, of course including the inaugural one where everyone won their first ring at that event. It's only 2015 and 2022 where one player, well, every player won their first ring at that one particular event. Usually every other year. 2014, for example, Karma won again. Of course, 2013 was Karma, Miracles, Killer, and Parasite, of course. Karma then won it in 2014. 2015, JCap, Clay, Attach, and Replays. That was all their first rings. But in 2016, it was Cap won again. Then, of course, Apathy also won that year. And then in 2017, Crim and Karma won again. 2018, Aches and Apathy won again. 2019, of course, was Clayster. He got another ring. 2020, like Crim6 and Clay all got another ring also. 2021, Arcitys and Simp and aBeZy got another ring from Black Ops 4 season. So, like, it's very rarely happens. And maybe it'll happen again at this upcoming season. It's possible. But almost always to win champs, you need a player on your team that's won it before. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.